Hey, it's me, GV, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more Mafia 3 gameplay. Again, big thanks to 2K Games and Hangar 13 for flying me out to California to play Mafia 3 before it came out, and they allowed me to record some gameplay. Here's some more. Where we last left off, we were completing the sex racket in the French ward. As I've been saying, there's a lot of stuff to do and see when you're completing these rackets, but mainly, you're trying to get that number up there to the top left down to 0 so that you can kill the big boss and take control over the racket. Now, just like with the last video, basically how we're going to be doing these is I'm going to be interjecting with my commentary every time I see a feature or mechanic that I want to talk about, or just if I have anything to say. Like right now, I want to talk about the police in Mafia 3. As you would imagine, when you commit crimes in this game, for instance, if you walk up to someone on the street and shoot them in the face, well, the cops really don't like that. Now, cops are represented as blue on your mini-map to the bottom right there, and if a cop witnesses that, whether they're walking on the street or whether they're in their police car, they will give chase, and the bottom right, your map will start flashing blue and red, and as you can see here, we have an area where the police are going to be looking for you. You may have noticed also that there was a witness that used a phone to call the police, and if you take them out, whether killing them or knocking them out, obviously the police won't be alerted. Now, I don't think I utilized this until later on in the gameplay, but one of the easiest ways to get rid of the cops is to simply pull up your weapon wheel, and you'll have an associate's power, and again, you know, they jumped us forward in this game, so I'm not exactly sure when you acquire this power, but you can get rid of the cops, and you'll see that a bit later. Honestly, the cops don't seem to be that big of a deal. My main issues were with the mob enemies and the various enemies in this game. Not so much the cops. The cops were pretty easy to outrun in my experience, and if you have the cash to use that associate's power to get rid of them, it just completely eradicates that issue whatsoever. So I just wanted to start off with that. I will be interjecting here and there with more commentary, but until then, sit back and relax, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the Mafia 3 gameplay.
No business here for you, asshole.
All units, pursuit is called off. Abandon search and return to patrols. Repeat, pursuit is called off. Abandon search and return to patrol.
Oh, God!
Nothing. Try over there.
As a side note, you've probably realized that you can pick up these bodies and move them around. I haven't really found that much of an issue with enemies spotting bodies and thus figuring out you're near, but you can do that, and I'm the type of player that likes to do that anyways.
We need the police!
One thing of note is that even though your main goal here is to burn these boxes to deal damage to the racket, you can also pick up money, like on the table here, which will also deduct from the main money goal. So what we're going to be doing now is what I was talking about when I said that there's certain missions and certain objectives that are more unique than others. For instance, you can travel around and kill members, you can burn those boxes, things like that, and that seems to be the case for a lot of the different rackets. However, what we're about to do, we're going to rob the orgy. That one seems to be a little bit more unique and obviously more fun.
That didn't sound right.
You don't mind all these folks looking at you?
I prefer it. Don't you, baby?
As you mention it, well, what do you say? Somebody be fucking with me.
Did you have something in mind?
Some bit's gone. Oh, I could come up with a few things.
I can't feel my face. Can you see my face? Where's my
Apology.
Fuck was that noise?
Find all these folks looking at you.
I prefer.
We got ourselves a gift.
He came out of nowhere.
We damnation, Scummy Jack.
This is nobody's fault but yours.
Also here, when it says SENTRY alerted, it's the same thing as a witness pretty much. The SENTRY is going to go and call for reinforcements instead of the police, so obviously you want to make him a priority target.
Done made my goddamn day.
There is melee in this game, as you've probably noticed. Right there I tapped Y. I remember when I was playing this, I was just tapping Y as fast as I could because I saw it, but usually, from my experience, the melee mainly consists of running up and tapping B constantly. Later on in the game, as you see there, enemies will shove you back, so it gets a little more tough, and I do believe you might be able to counter. I didn't mess around with the melee too much, but from what I've seen, it's pretty simplistic. There's also like gruesome kill animations or something, where if you hold B, a little gauge will fill up, and if you let go at the right time, you'll insta-kill them in pretty brutal ways, but again, I didn't really have much experience with that.
Spare me. God, please.
Shouldn't have come here.
Where that came from?
That gun's mine. Let's see what this baby can do.
As you can see here, I'm going to vault over this gate, and that just simply consists of running at something and tapping Y to jump over it. However, one of my gripes with this game is that there's a lot of little ledges and things that you would think you could vault over, but you actually can't. And it does become a major gameplay mechanic, obviously, when you're on the run and when you're trying to infiltrate bases and things, so it can be a little confusing. So this part right here illustrates the racism.
Get your ass out of here.
I didn't realize what was going on right now when I was playing, but I realized a bit later that there's a sign to the left of the door right there that says no colored or something like that. This does take place in 1968, I believe, obviously, so racism is still alive and well. In fact, one of the first things that you see, if not the first thing, when you play this game is a screen detailing that the developers and publishers wanted to keep this as accurate as possible, so there is a lot of racist terms and stuff thrown around. You can imagine the N-word is used quite frequently. But I actually do like that just because that's, you know, how it was back then, and I want an accurate representation. We're all adults here, so I do like that about this game. But to speak more on what happened in that shop there was a TAC-VEST in there, and if you grab one of those, you get a bit more, you know, armor, but really it's a bit more health, and I didn't realize that I'm not allowed in there, so you have to come back at night, I believe, and then lockpick the door, and it's all yours.
Shit. Check the other side.
Show yourself. Over there. There, you see him?
You see what I mean about the difficulty stemming from enemies that you don't realize are still around you in games like these? Now, as you may have noticed, I came across a bug here. This box is still glowing and it wants me to destroy it, but it didn't let me destroy it the first time, or at least it didn't fully activate. And there are glitches here and there for the most part, but nothing out of the ordinary. And from what I understand, they let me play an advanced demo, not the full release of the game, not something that you'd find in the box. So maybe some of these will be cleaned up before release.
Rats and whatever. That's never been me. We raised the three of us in a shitty little place on the edge of Frisco. You know, before they started putting really big houses over there.
By the way, I forget the exact tutorial message, but I'm pretty sure at one point this game told me that there is a way to knock out these enemies without actually killing them, but it was weird because you had to activate it in the menu. It was like a menu option rather than a button that you press to just silently take them out.
What, having a tough strap of cloth against you on duty insides?
Another use of the Intel vision is to figure out where all of the various resources are. For instance, right over here to the right is going to be a medicine cabinet, which is going to give me an adrenaline shot. I think later on in this section I also am able to see where a TAC-VEST is.
Of us to walk out. In protest, she says. What are we supposed to do? Well, the fellas in management get a little grabby sometimes. Hey.
Just don't let nothing happen to me.
We got us.
So there, I totally forgot about the whistle mechanic. I could have easily just whistled, and it seems like no matter how close you are to a group of enemies, it always makes only one aware of the whistle at a time.
Yeah, hurry!
Don't check if he's hiding back there.
Let's look someplace else.
Move! Move!
We got ourselves a gas.
Nobody's fault
I'll
but
flush
yours.
him out.
Time to run now, boy!
Let's see if you bleed red.
Look who I found. Shit's turned bad! Send everyone!
So this is basically why I don't ever play guns blazing if stealth is available, because now look at this, everyone is alerted, and they've also called in reinforcements, which means I have to waste more ammo, and it's going to be more difficult to get out of this situation alive. So right here I use a grenade, and while the grenades are really powerful, the mechanic is pretty simplistic. All you do is hold RB, that little arc appears, and as you can see at the bottom right there on the screen, there's a lot of different things that you can utilize. I've used the grenades, the Molotovs, and that third thing is some voodoo doll that screams and attracts enemies. I'm not exactly sure what the fourth thing is. Oh, actually it's C4. I did not use that yet. But grenades are very powerful. They will clear out whole groups of enemies. Also right there, I utilized an associate power to call in a bunch of thugs on my side, which I've found to be really powerful, although sometimes they won't move along with you, just like every AI in every game ever.
Time to die! Get asshole! 12 o'clock!
So we've done enough damage to the enemy's sex racket, which means now we can talk to our contact and finish off this particular racket and take it over for ourselves. So here I grab a tactical vest. I haven't found too many of these in these playthroughs, but when you do find them, you can see it puts a blue bar above your health bar, and obviously that gives you a lot more leeway when dealing with enemies. Also, just in case you were wondering, there is a sprint button. If you hold down the left stick on the Xbox One controller, Link and Clay will sprint, and that comes in handy, obviously, since a lot of the time you're going to be running away from bullets and not towards them.
All right, get out. Go ahead, take it. It's yours.
By the way, if you were wondering what the little blue lines right there on the screen and the little white lines mean, the blue lines are cops noticing you, and the white lines are enemies noticing you. If they get bigger and bigger, eventually they'll figure out where you are, or if they're smaller, they'll come looking for you.
Don't want to hear it.
This John, he said he was falling in love with me.
You call that a loyal customer?
The thing is, I'm starting to...
Don't you fucking say it. Don't make me beat your dumb ass. We're living the dream, ain't we?
Hey, you want a date yet? I can make you feel real good.
You got it from
Ain't
a brother.
this fun?
Supposed to take you to some other plane of it. Told her she was full of shit and walked right out.
Now it seems like you can freak out as many normal NPCs as possible, and that really doesn't matter. But obviously, if you freak out a red guy, if you freak out a hostile, it will alert all the other hostiles. But they seem to be pretty oblivious, unlike the other NPCs, unless you're in their direct line of sight.
Got targets on me in the ward. We all get a piece of it, but I'm first.
Motherfucker, think you know?
Get on down, now.
So as you can see, I've found the shotguns to be really powerful, especially in blind fire situations. If you're anywhere near the target when you fire, they seem to die in one hit, even behind cover. Now, as you can see here, even though I've completed the objective, because we've already racked up enough damage for the racket, we take away nothing from it. It says 0 damage done. I couldn't figure out how to do this for the longest time, but if you hold LB to bring up your weapon wheel and then press X, you'll stow away your weapon so you're not running down the street like a madman.
Sorry about that.
You fucking stupid as hell. Is that what you think? I'm some kind of moron?
Just a little side note, you can cancel throwing a grenade. On the bottom left there it says press B to cancel. It's just a little thing you might miss out on.
I can't stay here. Get away.
So as you can see here, all of the normal NPCs start running, but all of the guards don't seem to notice. I think it would have been far better if everyone starts to run, the guards at least start to look for someone.
Huh? Hey, bruh, you hear that? Huh?
It's pig in the learn that shit. You're not gonna find me in that mess anytime soon.
Shit, what the hell? Huh?
Alright, so right here I was really hoping this death animation would happen, and it did. I was really hoping Lincoln would reach across and sort of stab him, and I don't know, that thought just appeared in my brain for a split second, and it actually happened, and that made me really happy. Just a side note. You'll notice there's a SMG right in front of me, and if I was smart and if I noticed that, I would grab it in exchange for the pistol that I have, because that is going to be more powerful, but I don't think I do.
Huh? I found you. I'm stuck.
So again, because we've already dealt enough damage to the racket, this is not really doing anything. I'm not sure if there's going to be any achievements related to finishing off all of the objectives. I'm not even sure if there's any point at all, but I was just trying to get in as much gameplay as possible. Also, there are a lot of handwritten notes that you can find, which I thought was a really nice touch. It adds a little bit of character in the game world.
me, please. Listen to
So here I either realize I can finish off the racket or I choose to finish it off. I forget which. I was just having fun at this point in time, but finally I'm going to go finish off the sex racket in the French ward.
A couple of years back, the cops would be crawling around this place.
Sounds like Handsome Harry's a little agitated. Apparently even his clientele can't get their jollies while being shot at.
Is he back at the Plow House?
He prefers to call it on Beljardin after the flower shop it's attached to. But yeah, he's there. Probably wishing he had a tit he could cry into.
You a sick motherfucker, CAULEY, but thanks for the help.
It feels like there's one major point of contact for each racket, and I'm so glad they went with different characters and different personalities. For instance, we just talked to this guy for the sex racket, because I feel like they could have easily made the mistake of having the same guy for each racket, and that would have gotten really, really boring.
I almost got hit.
We don't fucking get a handle on this shit, business is gonna dry up. Nothing kills a fella's pecker like the fear of getting shot up.
Yeah, so doing this us, you overplayed his hand. Now that Handsome Harry's here, we got all the men we need to handle the situation.
It was cool.
Yeah, Eggplant shows his face.
The cops,
He'll get what
and
he
some of them
deserves.
were kind of cute. But a lot of them came around all cranked up.
Huh?
Speed when they could get it. Booze every other time.
Mystery fucking solved. Get that asshole. Oh, for pity's sake.
What the hell? He has a gun! Hey, shoot him!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to end this gameplay here. I know we're right in the thick of some action, but trust me, this action is going to go on for a while. Again, if you guys want to check out some official Mafia 3 videos, check the link in the description. It will take you to the official Mafia 3 channel. Also, on Twitter, use the hashtag Mafia3 and @MafiaGames to check out their official Twitter stuff. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more Mafia 3 gameplay, as well as a bunch of other stuff on my channel. And also, if you guys got any enjoyment out of this video, please click the like button. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Again, there's a lot more Mafia 3 gameplay to come before the game releases, and I will see you guys there. Bye-bye.